Hi, this is Steve Gardner, the Senior Vice President for Scientific Learning. I'd like to welcome you to the FastForward free trial program and to help prepare you and get you on the path to fast change and lasting results. I just want to give you a quick orientation and overview of the program, some outline of some key implementation tips, a few links to some resources that you'll be able to access during the free trial to have the best and most positive experience for you and your students. So just to make sure you're in the right place, FastForward is an evidence-based intensive language and reading intervention. So we are a solution that can help improve language and reading performance for your most struggling students. And those would include students with disabilities, English language learners, anybody that's struggling or behind in reading, students that might typically be in response to intervention in Tiers 2 or Tier 3. And our solution was designed uniquely to help those students, again, make fast change and enduring gains. So just by way of background, we were developed by neuroscientists, leading neuroscientists, both studying how we affect change in our brains deliberately and understanding the processes in our brains that work together to develop strong systems for language and reading. And combined, they resulted in the development of the FastForward program, which has now been used worldwide by well over 3 million students. It is the highest rated program for English language development on the Federal What Works Clearinghouse. And we have extensive research that documents the efficacy of the program, both outcome studies in school districts and then studies at leading institutions like Harvard and Stanford. So one of the things that's unique about the program, and you begin to see this as your students start to work through the free trial, is it really focuses on the foundational skills required for effective language and reading. And in order to do that, we really need to prepare the brain. And to give you a sense of what this looks like, you can see in this slide, we use a technique known as functional magnetic resonance imaging to really take a picture of the brain as it is engaged in an activity like reading. And you can see the composite on the left of the areas that are active in proficient reading. And so it shouldn't surprise you that reading is a complex process, and it involves multiple different areas of the brain that need to work together effectively to basically visually see the words, decode the words, translate them into meaning. And you'll see in the middle a composite of your typical struggling reader, and roughly 20% of students, no matter what, are going to have a hard time learning to read for a variety of reasons. And you can see that the brain activation pattern is very different. And so rather than focus on what most interventions do, which give them access to more reading, we really need to take a step back and develop those connections. And so that's really what FastForward was designed to do. And you can see on the right, after intervention, that we literally have wired and strengthened the connections of the brain to activate the areas that will lead to much more confident and proficient readers. And one of the ways that we do that is we recognize the fact that reading is not just about developing strong reading systems, the things that you typically think about when you think of reading, word identification, vocabulary, phonics, phonemic awareness. But in order to effectively read and process language, we really need to develop strong mental systems in the brain, develop those underlying and core cognitive skills, attention, memory, working memory, processing skills, the ability to process sounds at a speed necessary to be able to read and understand and attend auditorially. And one of the things that's unique about FastForward is that it explicitly cross-trains both the reading and the mental systems in every exercise to develop, again, a strong, proficient reader. Another thing that's unique about the program is this kind of comes from the understanding of neuroscience, how it informs the way that we affect deliberate change in our brain. And the way that we do that is through intensive practice. If your students are behind, it's not enough just to deliver curriculum at the pace that they've been receiving in their normal day-to-day. They need much more intensity to catch up and get them back on track. And one of the ways that we do that in the Fast Forward program is provide intensive practice in a wide array of skills, and you can see an example listed here. And we do that with a high degree of intensity. So if you compare Fast Forward to other typical reading programs and interventions, over the course of a 4-month program like the free trial, your students are literally going to complete 5 times more trials to really help develop and strengthen those systems in the brain that are required for effective language and reading. And another unique attribute of the program is that we aren't just going to train them randomly on things that we think they need. The system is going to adapt individually to each of your students, and it's going to move them through and adapt to their individual learning needs and abilities, so that they are working on the areas that they need to be working on most and are progressing at their own pace and developing, again, those core underlying reading and mental systems for effective language and reading. Just a quick overview of the program. When you access the free trial, you have access to all of the products within the Fast Forward family, both support for elementary students and middle and high school learners, whichever you're working with. And to give you an idea, typically if you're an elementary student and you're struggling, you're going to start, for example, in the Fast Forward language program, which is really focused on those foundational kind of build the brain exercises. And if we take a look at Fast Forward language, it's comprised of a series of exercises, in this case, sound and word exercises, that each have explicit scope and sequence designed to develop reading and cognitive skills. And just as an example, one exercise in the Fast Forward language program is Hoop Nut. And Hoop Nut, the students will be identifying a target syllable when presented in a sequence of 2 syllables. And the skills that it's really working on are phonological accuracy, phonological fluency, phonological memory. Again, if you look at students that struggle to read, 90% have an issue with phonics, phonemic awareness. This is one exercise that's really going to strengthen and develop those skills. At the same time, we are going to be cross-training and developing memory, attention, and processing. So that's one of the ways that one exercise works, and your students will work across all of the exercises in a prescribed sequence, and each exercise, again, will individually adapt to the needs of that student. All right, it's going to sound a little funny, and be prepared for this. Your students may say this. If you look at the exercises, you'll see that they may sound funny. And what we're doing is we're acoustically modifying the speech to slow the speech sound down and emphasize consonants so that we really help the students hear, in many cases for the first time, all of the elements of those speech sounds, and then we will adapt and move them to natural speech to, again, help train and develop those connections in the brain required for sound reading and language. All right, when you implement the program, and you'll get a lot more information on this as you begin your free trial, just keep in mind that we are internet-based and you will need an iPad or a Windows Macintosh computer with a browser or a Chromebook and headphones. Again, over-ear headphones are going to help with all of the sound exercises. For the free trial, the training will be on demand. You'll have access to guides and recorded webinars that will help introduce you to the program and the science and how to implement. And then we also provide access and point you in the direction of teacher-based activities and lessons that can complement, extend, and bring the activities into the classroom. When students start, we include an assessment called Reading Progress Indicator, and that will assess their grade level equivalency, and it will be used to place them into the correct product. And once the students are off and working, we provide a variety of reports that help you monitor their progress in real time, help inform instruction by identifying skill areas and areas that they may need additional reinforcement and practice with, and then reports that will help you either inform parents, inform other staff about the progress that students are making on an incremental basis. And those reports can be viewed in real time, and you can even schedule them to be emailed to you on a recurring basis. we're frequently asked which are the best students for the program. And I mentioned at the beginning of this introduction that we really are designed as an intensive intervention to help your most struggling students. And again, those would be anybody that's reading a year or more below grade level in grades K through 12. The program is exceptional for English language learners. All of the work that we do to develop phonics really help develop the language centers of the brain, basically helping build that English brain that will put them on a faster path to success and proficiency in English language. And then within special education, students that have dyslexia, any specific learning disability that affects language or reading, auditory processing, high-functioning students on the autism spectrum, and those with attentional issues. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, anybody that's in a response intervention Tier 2 or Tier 3 for language or reading. Be prepared to make sure that you're able to accommodate at least our minimum protocol, which is 3 days a week, 30 minutes a day. For the free trial, if you're working in a 4-month period, if you really want to see the effects of the program in that time frame, it would be ideal if you could get to a 5-day protocol with at least 30 minutes a day. And the system will prompt you to select the appropriate protocol and then manage your student progress and time in the program on that appropriate protocol. And then when you're done, the students will be assessed again, and the program will automatically develop a variety of reports that will help you see the gains that the students are making. This is one view of a gains report. And then you can also see improvement in overall percentile and proficiency level changes. And again, you can see this at the student, teacher, school, or ultimately district level when you implement the program. So what can you expect? What are the things that you'll be looking for as a result or outcomes for your students? Again, we're going to improve those mental systems. One of the ways that we've measured that is we've looked at whether or not the program can help improve attention and focus. In this case, auditory attention. As we deliver most of our curriculum auditorially in our classrooms, this is a critical skill. And this is research that was done by Courtney Stevens in Oregon, and it shows that the system dramatically improved auditory attention and focus, both for students that were language impaired and for typically developing students. And again, this is really helping build a better student that will be able to take better advantage of all the curriculum and instruction that's going on around them, and not just while they're in the intervention program. As I mentioned earlier, again, you can expect fast change. This was research at Nevada that looked at gains of a variety of different reading programs, and of all the programs evaluated by the state, ForWord had the highest gain of any other reading intervention. And again, this is because we are based in neuroscience, we are cross-training reading and mental systems, and we're building that strong foundation that will help accelerate growth for your students. And lastly, you can expect enduring change. So our goal is to get your students off of the intervention, and when they're off, we don't want them to regress. And this is research that was done in Dallas that showed that students, after completing the ForWord intervention, were literally on a different learning trajectory, and that those gains endured over time. Moving on, what's next? If you haven't signed up, go ahead and sign up for the free trial. If you have, you'll be receiving your welcome email with account information and instructions. And then you'll also have links to an FAQ and a variety of free trial resources that will help you throughout. And you'll be receiving a series of emails that will guide you through what to expect as you move through the free trial. As always, when you're working in the program, we are here to assist you. Contact us at any time. You can phone us directly, you can email, and then you also have access to our world-class support source system and resources to help you and keep you on your way to fast change and lasting results for your students. Thank you, and we wish you the best of success with your ForWord free trial.